Our programs offer many languages. Please visit suprememastertv.com/schedule.
Nos programmes offrent plusieurs langues. Veuillez visiter suprememastertv.com/schedule.
Nuestros programas ofrecen varios idiomas. Visiten suprememastertv.com/schedule.
Nossos programas oferecem vários idiomas. Acesse suprememastertv.com/schedule.
And that's what needs to happen to protect the planet, to protect us all from pandemics, is that combination of legislation with awareness.
Be a humane being. Scrap factory farming for people, planet, and animals. Part 1 of 2. Continue watching to find out more.
Greetings, compassionate viewers. Longani ani. My name is Jeremy. I just said good day to you in Torres Strait Creole, the English-based language spoken on several Torres Strait Islands. The nature-loving Torres Strait Islanders send you sweet sea breeze, delightful sunshine, and heartfelt good wishes. Welcome to part 1 of our 2-part program, Be a Humane Being, Scrap Factory Farming for People, Planet and Animals. The Humane Being is a UK-based non-profit vegan advocacy group run by dedicated volunteers aiming to support people with raised awareness, information, ideas, and encouraging action towards creating a kinder, truly humane world. We are privileged to have Jane Tridgett, the founder and director of Humane Being and founder of Scrap Factory Farming. Also David Finney, the spokesperson of Scrap Factory Farming, joining us on our show today. They start by sharing their vegan journeys.
I ate meat for about 40 years, and when I was 42, I remember being at a meditation group and everyone was vegetarian, and I got talking to people, and that's when I went vegetarian. It was a surprise to myself as much as anyone else. The vegan bit actually came quite a long time afterwards, about 11 years later. Wish I'd started earlier, but hey. So yeah, I've been vegan for about 5 years now.
I was an animal advocate right from the age of being about 12. I remember doing my first sponsored swim to raise money for the RSPCA. But I only became vegetarian when I was a consumer in my own right after I'd finished at university. And I remember distinctly sitting in a Chinese restaurant eating Peking duck and thinking, why am I doing this? This is completely wrong. So I went vegetarian at that point, but I didn't go vegan until actually a lot longer. 30 years I was vegetarian, and I only went vegan 3 years ago.
Through a long journey from vegetarian to vegan diets, what Jane and David have experienced has helped them recognise what the most needed actions are at this crucial time. Jane tells us how they got into the Scrap Factory Farming campaign.
I was involved in the RSPCA for 18 years, with 10 years on the national board as a trustee and 18 years at local level as a volunteer. And I really started to have a look around at what other organisations were out there. And I wanted to bring an organisation forward that helped people to think about what was happening to the planet and animals, and to join the dots up of what the correlation was. There were a lot of organisations at the time that were helping animals. There were a lot of environmental organisations, but there were very few at the time were actually aligning those two messages. So that's really how we started looking at bringing the messages forward. And we created a not-for-profit organisation called Humane Being. I set up a website to provide resources and information for people. We were running stalls and talks, really looking at how we could add value. We didn't want to replicate what was out there, but perhaps linking people to find what was already out there. And then David came into my life, where we were introduced by a mutual friend, And David brought the idea of the legal case, and from that we started the journey of scrap factory farming.
In fact, the legal campaign, Scrap Factory Farming, was inspired by a book called Chicken's Lib by Claire Druce that David Finney read about.
The initial trigger for the whole legal aspect of what we're doing came from a book that I was given to read called Chicken's Lib by a lady called Claire Druce. And I started reading the book and I thought, wow, this lady's been campaigning for chickens for years. But she was demonstrating that she believed that factory farming was illegal with reference to the UK Animal Welfare Act. And I remember talking to her on the phone. I said, you're expressing what a lot of people feel. So that was the initial kind of trigger for scrap factory farming.
Kind viewers, we will pause for a short message. Please stay tuned to Supreme Master Television. Welcome back, perceptive viewers. The organisation Chicken's Lib was set up in early 1970 by Claire and her mother, Violet Spalding. They worked tirelessly through the 80s and 90s to change the law on battery farmed chickens. The book, Chicken's Lib, is a remarkable record of boldness and dedication, detailing how these two brave women challenged the government, MAFF, Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries and Food, and the poultry industry, by first bringing attention to the British public to the conditions in which chickens lived, and then managing to get the law changed on battery farmed chickens. The book is considered an insider's account of their campaigns. It's a must-read history of the campaign against battery cages. Claire explained.
The main thrust of my book is that all these factory farming systems are illegal. We have got a European convention demanding that conditions for farmed animals allow the fulfilment of natural behaviour patterns. And it's an absolute disgrace because this quite clearly isn't happening. Criminal prosecutions are needed to establish this illegality.
When we first started, we were focusing on a particular clause in the Animal Welfare Act that we thought was being breached. We consulted with various legal teams and we realised that there was a lot more going on about factory farming. We knew there was environmental impacts coming from the industry. More research led us to realise the health issues were just as alarming. So our legal team said this is going to be much stronger if we present all three. So our key messages have always been people, animals and planet, because everyone is affected by factory farming.
So our aim is quite simple. We want to scrap factory farming and see it finished for the good of people, the good of the planet, and also to protect animals.
A big round of applause for Humane Being for picking up the baton to urge the government into passing a law to stop animal livestock raising for good. Humane Being views past campaigns such as drinking and driving and smoking in public being successful due to raising public awareness and getting people to realise the importance of changes needed and backing it up by legislative reinforcement.
These are all behavioural changes that have been for the better of us all, but weren't things that necessarily were popular at the time. But what was successful about them is that these were all about raising awareness with individuals, promoting the messages of why it was important, but backed by legislative change. And that's what needs to happen to protect the planet, to protect us all from pandemics, is that combination of legislation with awareness.
As a product of human civilization, law is basically a set of rules that are created and enforced by a country or community through social or governmental institutions to regulate the actions of its members. So far, due to their benevolent heritage, only in India it is illegal to kill cows in some states, and in the state of Gujarat, the penalty for killing a cow is life imprisonment. The National Indian Constitution states it shall be the fundamental duty of every citizen of India to protect and improve the natural environment, including forest, lakes, rivers, and wildlife, and to have compassion for all living creatures. The Ahimsa practice is built into the Indian Constitution, and it is a national treasurable inheritance, all due to the strong influence of Hinduism. We sincerely pray that India's valuable example of be compassionate to our co-inhabitants is more widely adopted within our societies, with enforceable legislation that redefines acceptable behaviour towards animals. The world-renowned spiritual leader, Supreme Master Ching Hai, made a resounding alert of the final judgment that we're facing currently during a conference with Supreme Master Television team members in December 2020.
It's all the blessing power. Very strong nowadays, okay? Because it's the final judgment time. Everybody knows that. Okay, huh?
Yes, Master.
That's why many of the predictions say in 2012, more or less, is the time that we say sayonara to this world and to our bodies. But because of the leniency of heaven, so we are still here, okay?
Yes.
Yes, but many, many disasters to warn humankind.
Yes.
But just to give them the last ever chance to U-turn, to repent, to get the blessing, to all be liberated. And it's a time for retribution. No one can do anything about it. I can rescue the souls only if they repent. Physically speaking, they have to go through this time of cleansing and payment.
Bright viewers, do you agree it's time to show our worth by making a covenant with God when we repent for exploiting animals? In this modern world, we do need laws to declare animals' rights as sentient beings on this planet, entitling them to share the resources with other beings. We also need laws to protect them from being harmed by others. The law to mediate the relations between humans and our animal co-inhabitants should be written into public laws, including constitutional law, administrative law, and criminal law. We would like to conclude today's program with the song Before It's Too Late, composed and sung by David Finney.
Factory farming is harming our planet and all the creatures suffer so. On our knees now, disease is a legacy we are leaving to our young. Feel their pain, see their eyes, hear their screams, lose their lives while their homelands burn in smoke. It's a tragic winter play, it's a poison take away, and so we must save the day before it's too late.
Factory farming is harming our planet. It causes greenhouse gas emissions, loss of wildlife habitat and biodiversity, antibiotic resistance, the spread of disease, and great suffering to billions of farmers.
To learn more about Humane Being and the campaign Scrap Factory Farming, please visit humanebeing.org.uk/crowdjustice.com/case/Scrap Factory Farming /. Compassionate viewers, thank you for your company today. Please join us next week on Thursday, April 22nd for part 2. May the hearts of all beings soar with happiness filled with the Divine's love and blessings.
Our programs offer many languages. Please visit suprememastertv.com/schedule and suprememastertv.com/VEG